Like, I don't want socialism to be blamed for when Zohran Mamdani inevitably fails to decrease the cost of living for New York. Because Zohran Mamdani hella overpromised. And this is what we've seen time and time again. These people are allowed to call themselves socialists. They're here to drag what it means to shift. They shift what it means to be a socialist to the right. That is what we see from AOC. These people are advocating for a welfare state. Now, if you don't think this is a criticism, that's okay. It's not everything I say about Zohran Mamdani is not meant to be a scathing criticism. So if you like welfare capitalism, then I guess Zohran Mamdani is your guy. But I'm way beyond welfare capitalism. I want to completely destroy the political power of the capitalist class. It's clear as day that Donald Trump and MAGA, just like Joe Biden and the Democratic Party by funding a genocide, is here to bail out the Democratic Party. Soon as Donald Trump won, I saw people say, oh, there's going to be a MAGA dominance in politics. I'm like, man, I don't know about that, man. I know how this duopoly works. You had Donald Trump and MAGA that put America last. You have Donald Trump that openly betrayed his entire base when he ran on an anti-war platform. Now he's still funding the Nazis in Ukraine. He's floating the idea of invading Nigeria. The only thing he cared about doing as president, as far as governing on behalf of Israel and censoring Americans, you guys think there's not going to be retaliation to this? This moment right here is the exact moment that Zohran Mamdani won this election. Now, with Haas, we're going to explain what the election with Mamdani means. I think a lot of people are getting way too excited, which is the problem with the professional managerial class. Because remember, fam, the professional managerial class views victory as just winning the election and winning the election only. Fam, the battle is supposed to just begin if you're a Zohran Mamdani supporter. And already seeing these people playing and acting like his lawyer instead of holding him accountable, because Zohran is already tweeting nonsense about how we got to fight against anti-Semitism. But it was this moment right here, because the way I'm taking this, because the same way I laughed at Democrats when Trump won, I laughed at MAGA when Biden won in 2020. I'm always going to laugh at the loser. And we're witnessing massive meltdown from the Zionist lobby because of this. So this is a fantastic rhetorical victory against Zionism. And it is funny seeing the Zionist meltdown. I will enjoy this, but I'm going to show you guys the exact moment which represents the change of the American psyche. This moment right here won Zohran Mamdani this election.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first? Left to right, Ms. Adams.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Mr. Cuomo.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my fourth trip to Israel, followed by my fifth trip to Ukraine, two of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing as.
This is the exact moment he won the election. Like, you could pack this shit up right at this exact moment. And the Zionists overplayed their hand because Zohran Mamdani didn't even want to talk about Israel-Palestine like that. They themselves made this a referendum. And I don't know if they was like doing a live, almost like they're using the New York election as a way to test the waters of how the American populace are feeling about Israel, Zion, because they made it about Zionism. Zohran, like, bro, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I condemn globalized intifada. I want to run about the cost of living for New Yorkers. And as these people made it clear, the ruling class made it clear that they didn't give a fuck about New Yorkers. They care about, and they only care about, governing for their favorite apartheid genocidal regime. And they're just a small part of the cope. This is why we're seeing the Democratic Party revival, because Donald Trump and MAGA is doing their part. The same way that Biden did his part to revive Donald Trump by committing a genocide, by continuing to fail the American working class by breaking rail strikes. That's what we see in the Trump administration. This is the he's the ambassador to Israel, isn't he? 30% of Jewish Americans voted for Mamdani. So you guys lost the information war. Here's Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL. You already know the ADL is having a meltdown. Let's listen to this.
And I will tell you, I've gotten so many calls from Jewish New Yorkers who are alarmed. Their kid was harassed in college. Their child was bullied in K through 12. Their synagogues vandalized. So here's what ADL is doing right now. If you are a Jewish New Yorker, we have your back, and we will hold Mamdani, Mayor-elect Mamdani, accountable. And I will.
Come on, man. So I can enjoy these moments. These moments are hilarious. I want to take advantage of any political event that captivates the masses in order to spread my message of anti-Zionism, raising awareness about how we occupied by these Jewish supremacist scum. And unfortunately, I see the pressure working. I've seen the pressure working already on Mamdani. And I have made an argument, and we've seen it. The argument made by many of my Palestinian friends who've been critical of Zohran, that he actually legitimized many of the Zionist talking points against the Palestinian movement by condemning the Palestinian resistance, by condemning globalized intifada. He's not shifting the Overton window to the left. He's legitimizing talking points that Zionists should have been conceding to us. So as people are uncritically cheerleading for Zohran Mamdani, you had the Zionist class who they was going to work. And they have successfully shifted Zohran on his positions on the NYPD. He apologized for calling the NYPD racist. And now he has this insane Zionist who pledged to crack down on anti-Semitism and is that he's going to keep at the NYPD. And I can't wait to ask. I'm going to ask Haz about this, but every time I hear Zohran describe his democratic socialism, it always makes me want to vomit. Like, I don't want socialism to be blamed for when Zohran Mamdani inevitably fails to decrease the cost of living for New York. Because Zohran Mamdani hella overpromised. And this is what we've seen time and time again. These people are allowed to call themselves socialists. They're here to drag what it means to shift. They shift what it means to be a socialist to the right. That is what we see from AOC. These people are advocating for a welfare state. Now, if you don't think this is a criticism, that's okay. It's not everything I say about Zohran Mamdani is not meant to be a scathing criticism. So if you like welfare capitalism, then I guess Zohran Mamdani is your guy. But I'm way beyond welfare capitalism. I want to completely destroy the political power of the capitalist class. I want a dictatorship of the proletariat. This is not that what Zohran is doing. Zohran conceding to landlords. Him making alliances with the business capitalist class. This is not engaging in class struggle. He already promised landlords that, hey, man, I'm not going to do anything that harm your profits and harm your power. That's what he said. So if you want welfare capitalism, Zohran is your guy. But Zohran is not a socialist. And there are a lot of DSA people get upset when you say this, but we have to gatekeep what it means to be a socialist because there's an active campaign to shift what it means to be a socialist into supporting Banderite Nazis, to condemning the resistance. If you're a true advocate of the working class, a true socialist, a true communist, it's upon us to gatekeep and be 100% clear about what our intentions are. And every single time I'm hearing Mamdani ask this question about socialism and communism, he runs away from communism as fast as possible. This is the anti-communism that you see among the progressive managerial class. Instead of using this opportunity to explain why we should be challenging the power of the capitalist class, the DSA elected, what they do is they immediately cave to the framing. They promote this false idea of democratic socialism as if socialism isn't inherently democratic. But I'll let the video play because we just have to correct the record on this. And even if you like Zohran Mamdani, you should be calling this nonsense out. Why are people acting like lawyers on behalf of these politicians? So we have Haas who will be joining us soon. I want to get thoughts on this because this is every time I hear this man talk about socialism, it makes me want to vomit. So let's play this clip and I'll bring our guests in to respond.
Joins us now.
And the communist joins us now. How do you respond to that when somebody comes up to you and say, I can't vote for you because you're a communist?
I say there are reasons you might not want to vote for me, but let's be honest about my politics. I'm a democratic socialist no matter how many times President Trump calls me otherwise.
Yeah, explain the difference. What is the difference between a Democrat, a democratic socialist, and a communist?
Well, I'm a democratic socialist who's also a Democrat.
Right.
And when I say I'm a Democrat,
I'm a democratic socialist who is also a Democrat. Emphasis and underline the word Democrat there. Because Zohran Mamdani, he said very clearly that he wants to save the Democratic Party. He wants to remind the Democratic Party of their working class roots. It's all a PR campaign to save a capitalist party. But I'll let him finish his answer here.
Democratic socialist and a communist.
well, I'm a democratic socialist who's also a Democrat.
Right.
And when I say I'm a democratic socialist, I explain it in the words of Dr. King from decades ago, who said that call it democracy or call it democratic socialism, there must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country.
Right.
And what I actually find is that when you're speaking to New York,
This is just a small point, but I said this 1,000 times. I hate when people quote radical black leaders to explain their liberalism. Don't quote MLK to explain your irrelevant, contradictory ideology. I hate when they fucking do that because MLK called out militarism, was critical of capitalism. So they always use this quote, which as a standalone quote is not a bad quote. But that quote is not a good quote if you use that to justify why you're not engaging in class war. Socialism is not when you're able to vote for a welfare state. That's essentially what he's advocating for.